Hey guys, Dan here, and time to look at another Roseanne episode from the new revival season. And this one is last night's episode called Darlene v. David. So, as we can tell from the title, and I'm sure if you've seen promos, that means that Johnny Galecki is back as David. We have not seen him yet this season. They're still married, him and Darlene, technically, but he has gone off and is doing things in third world countries for people, and there's a little bit of a debate on the episode about why he did that. You know, he claims that he just could not deal with his brother Mark's death, and sort of, you know, flew the coop for that reason. And there's a couple other theories floating about through the episode. It's another good one. You know, I laughed a lot. It's probably the weakest of all the episodes, but not really for the reason of that. The David Darlene stuff is really solid. Again, maybe gets wrapped up a little too quickly, but basically he comes back because he's going to be moving to Lanford in, I think he says a month. Or something like that, or 2 months. So or maybe it's even a couple of weeks. So he's going to be, you know, back in their lives, back in the town, and he wants to reconnect with certainly his children, but he also wants to reconnect with Darlene. He is very scared of Dan, so he sneaks in through the upstairs window, and it's never really explained, but I guess he used to do that maybe before he lived there when they were dating. But he and Darlene sort of go through this, you know, little dance with, okay, well, you know, basically I want some divorce papers because I'm in love with this girl, Blue. And, you know, let's just move on with our lives. But I'll be around for the kids and this and that. And Darlene is not really having it. She's got an internal debate because they end up sleeping together that night. But then she talks to, you know, Becky the next day, and Becky's like, "Nah, this is over. Like, you need to move on," you know. And Darlene has a line that, you know, hey, Mark's, you know, or David's not dead, you know, like Mark. So, you know, which is a throwback to a conversation they had last week on the show. One thing I've always loved about Roseanne, it is always evolving with itself. They can make references to previous things. And to be honest, that is not something that really happened on sitcoms a lot until Roseanne. I mean, it didn't, maybe a little bit on The Cosby Show, you know, but until Roseanne, there wasn't a lot of, like, let's throw back to previous episodes. You look at, you know, classic sitcoms of old, you know, Dick Van Dyke and All in the Family and, you know, Gomer Pyle. You know, they didn't reference other episodes. It was just every episode was kind of a standalone. With Roseanne, you needed to pay attention, you know, to the episodes. And that's something that they've brought back here, which is great. So it's another slightly dramatic episode. There is certainly some drama with Darlene and David, and sort of everything surrounding that, because everybody in the Connor family seems to have an opinion. You know, Dan and Roseanne have separate opinions on the matter, and then Becky has her own opinion. So, you know, there's a lot of things going on, and some of it does get dramatic. There's a pretty good scene with David and his daughter, played again by Emma Kenny. That's pretty solid, because look, you know, he has not been a part of her life for a long time. So, you know, there's some touching moments there. And there's even, here's what I wanted to mention. There's even a joke. This is, like, classic Roseanne is so funny in finding humor in really sensitive moments and dramatic moments. There's literally a line where Darlene asks Becky why she's getting drunk before her date, if she's so excited about it. And Becky says, well, it's because I'm an alcoholic. And there's like a split second of hesitation from the studio audience, but then they erupt in laughter. It's like, you know, that's probably a pretty serious line, but this is Roseanne, so it sort of thrives on the serious nature of sarcasm, even though there's some truth to it, you know? So it's a very interesting dichotomy that I think Roseanne has always had and brings back to this episode. The reason this is probably not the best of the season is because of the B story. So not only is David back, this studio audience was treated to 2 of the great Roseanne characters, not just Johnny Galecki, but Estelle Parsons is back. 90-year-old Estelle Parsons, God love her, as Roseanne and Jackie's mom. And she still, you know, shows up sporadically. She was in a couple episodes of the great Netflix show Grace and Frankie, which if you're a Roseanne fan, you probably will like Grace and Frankie on Netflix. So you might want to check that out. Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda. But she had a couple of episodes on that, and she'll pop up every now and then. You know, she was on Frasier a couple of times towards the end of that show's run. So she, you know, returns here. But the problem is her story is very similar to a story that they did in a later season of Roseanne. It has to do with her and sex and, you know, liking it kinky and all this kind of stuff. In this episode, she gets kicked out of her retirement home because of it. But, you know, they did a very similar thing in, I mean, it was definitely a late episode. It might have been season 8 of the original Roseanne, where we find out she's like an S&M freak and all this stuff. So it's like, they already kind of did the, you know, grandma-like sex bit, and that was sort of all that she had going on in this episode. So I've got to dock it a little bit of a point for that, because it just has been done before. But Bruce Helford wrote the episode, which, you know, he is a long-time Roseanne collaborator from the early days. And what's funny is, in looking up who wrote this episode, because I was just curious, like, are these all written by the same people? Every episode has been written by somebody different, which goes to show how well these characters are defined. That anybody, you know, can write a Roseanne episode and make it a Roseanne episode in the tradition of the old school episodes. It's wild to me, you know, and of course the actors lend their own strength to the lines and the performances, but it's just stunning to me that all 5 of these first episodes have been written by different people, and yet they all have that same Roseanne sensibility. You know, it's pretty cool to me. So that was nice to see. But yeah, not the best of the episodes so far, but still another solid one. I laughed very hard. You know, even the opening scene where they're in the grocery store is a classic Roseanne, like, cheating the grocery store scene that was very funny. It's her and Darlene and DJ's daughter, and then Harris, Darlene's daughter, comes in for just a moment. But, you know, a lot of laughs right from the start. So, yeah, another good one. We didn't see DJ in this one again, which, again, is fine. You know, the one scene with Alicia Goranson, again, showcases that she's not quite up to snuff with the acting as the rest of the cast. But definitely another good one. It's a B+. You know, look, if this is the standard, if, you know, B+, A- range is the standard, that is perfectly fine. That makes it better than most shows on television, for sure. So, another one in the books. We only have 4 more to go. We're over halfway through the new season of Roseanne. Check out my season reviews. I just put season 3 up yesterday. I'm currently watching season 4 to put up over the next few days. So we've got the seasons up. We've got each episode up from the new season. And, you know, it's not all about Roseanne. If you're into movies, too, I have some movie reviews up as well you can check out. So, always something interesting to watch on the channel. And thank you if you have subscribed recently. If you haven't, that's cool. Go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you aboard. So, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.